Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
All right, we're back once again with another episode of In the Side of the Storm, where we talk all things Cyclones. We are live from the AKC Marketing Studio with Andrew Downs and sponsored by Rebelton Distillery out of Osceola, Iowa, and Dan Douglas with Green Beret Realty. I'm Dave Larson here with my Storm Team partners and Cyclone greats, Brent Vintage Curvey and Marcus Nutjob Pfizer. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
Can't complain.
We here battling these germs these kids give us every day. But
Man, there is something going around yet again. I don't know what it is, but I think I caught a little bit of it as well from the weekend game. And here we've got some great sponsors with Rebelton. I have a feeling that there was a lot of Rebelton consumed this weekend by Side of the Storm fans. Brent, you were at the game. I was at the game. Marcus, you were watching. Brent, you're literally at the sidelines of the game. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was deep behind enemy lines, man. I was on the sidelines for warm-ups and the whole nine. I mean, I just felt like there was just such a different juice around Kansas, and I didn't feel it for us at all. I mean, the fans were, in my opinion, I thought the fans were okay, but I felt like how we are, that wasn't like the Iowa State fan base either. So it's kind of seemed ho-hum. I think, playing in the Chiefs Stadium might have finally got to a team, maybe, some of that. And we get to play in this NFL stadium, some of that awe factor, maybe. I don't know. But it just, we didn't have the energy I thought that we needed. And Kansas was like, this is a home game. Let's just knock it out. And they did what they wanted to. So
we can't buy a game. We can't win a single game in Arrowhead. I don't know what it is with that played in that stadium, but Iowa State is like 0-3, 0-4 there.
I mean, you think it's just it's Jack Trice South essentially, but I don't know, man. I mean, I think we travel well because I saw a ton of cars go, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's still some of the awe. Like I said, some guys know they'll never play in an NFL stadium. And being in there, it's like, oh, man, it's kind of cool. This is where the Super Bowl champs play at. This is where they practice at, so on and so forth. So I don't know. I'm not to say that that's what it was, but it just didn't have any juice.
Well, you're right. Walking around the tailgate lots, I was down there with our own Chris Shipley, and I know we were all trying to connect, and I think you just got I think everybody was sort of, hey, there's Brent Gervais, and grabbing you and chatting with you. And then, of course, you had some obligations with your son and your family with the KU sidelines there. But yeah, that was a tough game. So you think that the KU team themselves were more up for the game because they had a chance of playing Arrowhead, where Iowa State maybe didn't get as jacked for it?
Well, no, I mean, I think this was like maybe their third game here, something like that. But I mean, the reality is Kansas was like a really good two-win team. Because majority of their losses came down to, you're talking about less than down. They're not a bad team, and for whatever reason, they were clicking on us. But I think the familiarity with them being there, not as fazed by it. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not saying that we were fazed by it either, but I didn't feel anything. Being at Jack Trice, obviously that's a home stadium, but we're 3 hours. Not even full 3 hours south, and it just didn't feel like we came ready to play.
Brent or Marcus, from your perspective, watching it on TV, what kind of vibe did you get from it? We were in the stadium. I guess, I probably ignorance from my perspective. I sort of had the thinking that maybe they would split up the fan bases, and as large as Arrowhead is, we would have like a bowl game. We would have half the stadium. KU would have the other half. And Brent, that's not how it was at all. Just like any team that comes into Jack Trice, they get that sliver of pie in the stadium. And basically that's what happened to us. Kansas fans were scattered throughout Arrowhead, and then Iowa State fans were all packed into one corner of the stadium, and that's where we stood and sat.
Yeah.
It looked like, the guys which one thing that I always said, it feels like I'm running in mud, like quicksand. Like no matter what you do, as hard as you fighting, it always seems like the other team or the opponent has one up on you. Being down by 5, that turns into 7. Being down by 1, and then they make a run and they go up. Looks like they're up by 8 or 9, and then you make another run. You just can never get to the point of tying the game or taking the lead. And, unfortunately, the way we've been playing the last couple of games, it seemed like, damn, this is going to be another one that we just can't seem to get out of that hole. And like Brent said, they were just clicking on all cylinders. And like that's probably one of the first games that I've watched that I feel like, man, we cannot stop nobody in this game. Not to say that we can't stop anybody as a team. It's just one of those games where it's like, man, who is this guy? Like, this wide receiver or this running back feels like he had 400 yards from the scrimmage. But it seems like no matter what you do, you just cannot, grab a hold to what's going on. And as you watch the game, you hope, you look for little small pieces. And, before you know it, the time is running out, and, we took another L. So that's disappointing without a doubt. We just want to – we're still, without a doubt, supporting them and behind them and very proud and everything like that. But, of course, we're going to be biased about the fact of winning and losing the game. We don't want to lose the games with as good as this team is, and we know the opportunity that we have. So still got a lot of time to play. Wishing the football guys do what they do every weekend. Just stop doing it to us. Smaller teams.
Yeah.
So we end up losing 45-36 to, you're right, a good Kansas team who offensively really looked very good against our defense. Another game that we've really struggled on the defensive side, and this side, or this game, it felt like we couldn't stop anybody. Injuries are just plaguing that linebacking core. The big citrus, Dominic Orange, didn't play. If he did, I think his snaps were very limited. It seems to really be taking its toll. On the offensive side, there were some positives, though. We were able to move the ball. I was surprised that Rocco threw for 383 and 3 touchdowns. I guess as I'm sitting there watching the game, that's not something I had really noticed. I just maybe noticed the defensive struggles a little bit more than anything. And then really what killed us is we were about 6 minutes left in that fourth quarter. We had the ball. We were down 38-28, and I felt like, if we could score here, I think this game, we're going to pull this out. That's when Rocco threw that pick six, and that was pretty much ball game right there.
Yeah,
he threw for a lot of yards, but I think if the competitor that I am, I'm sure he's probably the same way. I think he would rather to have thrown for less yards and to get the win. You know, I've been to some games where, you had 40. Yeah, we lost. You know, like, and it's an important game. Like for me as an athlete, that was always, I'd rather have lower points and not do as well and us do better as a team and to win the ball game than to worry about individual stats. And, that would have been a good one to get. A lot of people have told me, man, Kansas only won 2 games. And I'm like, if you understand the Big 12, you understand that they should have more wins than that. And just because they only won 2 games doesn't mean that they're not a good ball club. And, as they've been showing and playing as of late, they've been showing why. They can win games like that.
So, Brent, from a defensive standpoint, you had a unique perspective than the rest of us did. But, that was something that, I guess in retrospect, are there things that you expect to start seeing out of this defense or scheme-wise to adjust for all of the injuries that we've seen thus far and not knowing who's going to play from one game to the next? Are there things now that John Heacock could start to implement to try to change the game a little bit?
I mean, it's just going to be tough. You kind of game plan for the guys that you do have. I mean, I've noticed all year, though, we've rotated quite a bit, especially in the back end and secondary. But, I mean, we're not getting any pressure on the quarterback. We're really not making him, change up his read on that. Like in the beginning of the game when Kansas had like that 70-yard bomb or something like that, like nobody's getting home. And guys aren't getting out blocks, man. That just makes for a long game. So, I mean, in my mind, if you can't beat them straight up, you're going to have to start pressuring them. So, I would assume some sort of pressures are going to have to come. I mean, obviously, you want the younger guys to kind of, slow it down and make it easy so they can read. But at this point, we got 3 games left?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever. So, I mean, it's, we can't get healthy and we got to start, we're already plugging and playing. But I think more pressure kind of helps us a little bit because we're just not winning our one-on-ones up front. And that's always a recipe for disaster.
The locker room. What do you think that those players are going through their heads? What are they saying? What are they doing? Now, this is something you lose 2 games in a row after coming off that high, being 7-0 and losing the way that they did against Kansas. What's going through those players' minds at this point?
Man. One, this is the downside of social media because all of that overrated stuff is being sprayed in their face now like crazy, right? From starting off, super hot and backdoor now to dropping these past 2. I wouldn't doubt if some of that social media is getting to some of the guys, but I think this team is super, super resilient, and I don't think Campbell will allow them to stay in that space for long. I just think it's going to be one of those they have to continue to preach who's up and give them as much repetition as they can to be ready for the next week, man. But drown out the naysayers and don't worry about nothing outside. As hard as it is, but they gotta kind of stay away from that.
One thing I've always admired from you two is your perspective of when you played. It's one game at a time. As fans, we start thinking, 3 in a row, 2 in a row, 4 in a row. We start thinking down the schedule already. Is that kind of the mindset of today's player? That are they truly sitting back thinking, hey, we got to focus on Cincinnati. That's all that I'm thinking about.
I think so. I think to lose 2 straight and not panic because as a player, we ain't playing with a damn right now. And if you can identify what we're doing wrong, then in-house we're not going crazy. We made some mistakes, made some bonehead mistakes. I missed a couple free throws. Mike Nurse ain't get back on defense. You know, they laid the ball up. You know, we know what we broke down at. If you don't know, then that's an issue and a problem. But if you know how to understand that we're all still together. We made some issues and made some mistakes. We just got to correct them. And the next team that, you know, we're going to be facing, we're going to be looking to correct that and change that and get back on the winning ways and the winning streaks that we were on. But if you don't know and understand that, then that's pretty much saying the season has been luck. You know, not necessarily feeling like it's, you know, you're overrated, but if you can't understand how good you are as a ball club, then it sounds like you just feel like the season has been luck. We, you know, went 7-0, 8-0, 9-0, 10-0, just lucky, or as a good ball club. And if you know that you're a good ball club, then everything is good. Practice has been held the last couple of days, though. I bet you that much. I bet you they've turned up practice, focusedness, all of that has been turned up. Just to a higher level, you know, because even with that, practice is what brings you the joy of the sport. You don't get much joy inside of the games. There's a lot of stuff that you're dealing with. Referees is cheating, you know, situations, fields, courts, all of that stuff. You know, they might roll out a ball that's not as good as other ball from another spot, another place where you play at. So there's a lot of things that you deal with during the game. So in practice, you know, that's the time we had the most fun and we locked in. And, you know, unfortunately, we have more games in basketball than football, but I can, you know, imagine having to wait the next whole entire week for the opponent that we're going to play after having good practices.
And you're both coaches today, and have coached. What are you looking for? What are you doing as a coaching staff at this point?
We coaching on a different level. These kids we coach, we just hope they put their phone down.
Right. Man. Leave it at the door, man. Shit.
Right. I mean, in college, you have to understand, like, those are grown men, and for all intents and purposes, you know, a lot of them are pros, you know, and you're dealing with a different level. Like I was telling my wife before, like, there's not a no arrogant type thing, but there's only low of a level of kids that I would coach, you know, because, you know, my attention span, like the high level, after being a high level player, you know, like I'm not really, really good at coaching women, and not that I don't love women's sports and stuff like that, but my coaching style is, you know, made for above the rim, you know, hard, boxing out, that type stuff, you know, aggressive play. So it's a different level. I mean, I know for me, you know, dealing with these adults, I've never been around having coached adults or anything like that. It's just a whole different level.
Yeah, I mean, I think to kind of piggyback that, man, it's just we got to flush the bad, right? We studied it. I'm sure they watched it. They know where the glaring mistakes were. You know, they weren't getting pressure. They know all of those things. So at this point, it's we're gonna shit or get out the pot, right? So it's like, what we gonna do? Like we got another week now. You know, luckily we do have another week to make a difference and to still go get these 10 wins. So I think our focus just shifts over to this one, and you know, like Marcus said, I mean, you know, in college, I'm sure they're running a whole lot of extra sprints. It's a lot more gas than we normally would. It was all good when we was, you know, 7-0. Coach was like, "Hey, call it up. Everybody line it up." Everybody like, He's like, "Hey, you know what? Call it up." Now, you dropped the one. They're like, "All right, now, all right, we're gonna do 2." But you dropped 2 in a row. Oh yeah, get y'all ass on that line. Let's go. We're gonna run till I get tired, because obviously we're not finishing ball games. We're not doing that. So, you know, I think that's the thought process, man. Got to lock in and get ready to go next week.
All right, so I am an unapologetic shill for Iowa State basketball, football, track, you name it. I don't care. I'm a full supporter. Tell Cyclone Nation right now what to expect these last 3 games, or we'll just focus even on Cincinnati. What do we have looking forward to, and why should we continue to come to games?
I mean, shit, it's in the fight song. You can't rock with Iowa State and not be a loyal son forever. But I mean, it's just, it's always there's a speed bump in the parking lot for a reason. Sometimes you got to slow down. Things get, they seem good. You might have to slow down a little bit, gather your bearings again, and then we can take back off. So it's one of those small little speed bumps, man. I think we'll get right back on track. Back in Jack Trice at night too, right? With the night game. So I think this puts back where we need to be. Because once you get back winning, trajectory goes right back up. So
how about you, Marcus?
Froze. There you go.
How about you, Marcus? Tell us why we need to continue to go to these games and what we should be looking forward to on Saturday and the rest of the season.
I mean, we should understand that, the team is what the team is. Like I said, we would have loved to have gone undefeated, definitely made it to the playoffs with an undefeated record, being one of the top teams in the nation. But understand that, there's going to be bumps in the road. And if we understand that this team is good and we just lost 2 games, it happens. Kansas City Chiefs, we're talking about down in Kansas City. They're 9-0 now, but a couple of these games, they just won by block field goal. Like how many block field goals do you see during the game? But the football guys stepped in for them again, and they 9-0. So it can happen. And there's a couple other games throughout the season where we can say that they could have lost 1 or 2 more. So if we take it in that perspective, knowing that we're good, we faced some good teams here of late, battled the storm and won, lost the last 2, but understanding, our issues and our mistakes and corrected it. So don't jump off the wagon yet.
All right. I sat down, I started a dissertation. I tried to shorten it up a little bit, so bear with me. I trust in Matt Campbell. So Matt Campbell's won 53 games. Obviously, we talked earlier in the season. He's the winningest coach in Iowa State football history, has the best winning percentage. And we're talking about some stalwarts like Johnny Majors, Earl Bruce, Dan McCarney, even a guy by the name of Chiswick that went and won a national championship game. Number 1 on that list is Matt Campbell. Believe it or not, we're undefeated against Cincinnati. Beat them last year. And Campbell obviously is 1-0. We're 4-1 against Utah. We are 53-50-4 versus Kansas State. Campbell himself is 4-3 against Kansas State. Cincinnati, our friends have lost 2 straight. Most recently last week against West Virginia, who Iowa State has defeated. And they also lost by 1 point the week before that against Colorado. And their head coach, if you haven't seen, is already complaining about the turf at Jack Trice Stadium, complaining that it's too slippery, that they slip and slide. So that that's going to be in the coaching staff's head, in the players' heads, hearing their coach talking about that before this game. That was probably not their brightest move. I totally agree with you, Brent. It's a night game. I think fans are going to get jacked up. That I feel like our offense is starting to get some flow to it. I was really shocked that we had as many yards as we did. We had 400 and some odd yards, 383 passing yards. It didn't feel like it, but we did it. And that seems to be a good sign. I come back to games where we've had our back against a wall. I think of the Oklahoma game in 2017 where we went down there, had lost starting quarterback. This third string guy by the name of Kyle Kemp shows up, and I think that was one of the debuts of the John Heacock defense too, with a 3-man front. And we ended up beating Oklahoma by 7 in their own place. I think back to a couple games in 19 and 21 against Texas at home where we beat Texas. A couple of those were night games as well. We've got these last 3 games. We've got Rocco Beck, who guy's only a sophomore and is breaking Brock Purdy's records. I mean, that's pretty incredible. We've got Jalen Knoll in his last season, who last week had 160 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. We've got Jaden Higgins, who's been a little bit quiet, but what he can bring to the table. We still haven't really seen the best of Abu Sama yet. I think he's due for a breakout game. I still trust in John Heacock. I know that defense has been pulverized by injuries. I think he wants to prove something to Tyson Veit, who was a former linebackers coach for our Iowa State defense, is now the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati. Something about going up against your mentee. I think there's some ego involved. I think he wants to show him who's the mentor, who's the top dog. So I think he's got that. Something just tells me now that he's seen some of these young kids play that he wants to come out. He's going to do something. I don't know what it is. Something tells me he has something up his sleeve, whether it's a little bit of magic with a different look or a different field. I think he's got something. So again, another night game. I think we owe it to this team. We're 7-2. Like, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year we'll be 7-2 after 9 games, I would say sign me up, and I still say sign me up. We have never won 9 games in a regular season before, ever. We won I think we went 9-3 in that 2000 season with Sage Rosenfels and Ennis Haywood in the Inside.com Bowl. That team won 9, but we've never won 9. We've never won 10. We still have a lot on the table. So we need to get up there, support this team. We've got 2 of these last 3 games at home. And I think fans, we owe it to this team to just bring it and show them what Iowa State football is all about. That's my dissertation. That's what I'm about. Let's go Cyclones. Am I right? Am I wrong?
I'm with you, man. I agree. 10 times over.
Yeah, I think the guys have really, like we said, have locked in about these last couple losses and how they played the last 3 games, and to have 2 of the last 3 at home, the night game is always fun. Let's go out and get these last 3 and see where it falls for us. I mean, we've had success against pretty much all of them. We definitely feel like this one against Cincinnati is going to be a win, and then you just focus on the last 2. Utah is, I guess, they playing so-so, not as good as they, expected to be playing. But the Big 12 is what the Big 12 is. I don't know if we expected BYU to be doing what it's doing this season, but it is what it is, and we're just going to finish this thing strong.
All right, this feels like a good time to take a pivot and talk a little bit of basketball. So, believe it or not, Chris Shipley has again handed me the keys to the car and put some faith in me. So I'm going to see if I can flip it around here without ending the stream and go to a commercial break and hear a couple words from our sponsors.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. When energy meets precision, anything is possible.
I'm Carter Hawley, the Chief Energy Officer of the Iowa State Cyclones. I'm full of energy on and off the court, but nothing gives me more energy than helping families find their dream home. And that's where Green Beret Realty comes in. They're more than just realtors. They're a team dedicated to getting things right for you and your family, just like we get it right on the court. Sometimes it takes a team to get the call right. And when you're buying a home, you want a team that makes all the right calls. That is Green Beret Realty. And here's the best part. When you buy or sell a home through Dan at Green Beret Realty and mention this ad, he'll make a donation to the We Will Collective. helping student athletes like me thrive on and off the court.
Green Beret Realty, because getting the call right means everything.
All right, we're back to the podcast and the side of the storm. Guys, Chris actually stopped down to Revelton on our way down to Kansas City, and he whipped out 3 bottles of the new stuff that Revelton has. And I thought he was going to share it. I'll be damned. So Rob Taylor signed all 3 bottles. Chris didn't open up a single one for us. I think he took it all for himself. Yeah, you guys laugh.
I guess perks of the job. I guess you run the show. I mean,
Well, I'm hoping that maybe he's saving it for this weekend's game, with it being a night game. I'm sure he's going to be out there with that bus tailgating all day. So we'll see. Speaking of Chris, I talked before. He gave me the keys to the car. Brent, you're teasing me before the show. Just take it slow. Just just be easy. You guys
don't crash.
Do you so far so good. So do you remember the first time that you got your keys to the car? Your literal car?
To our own car or just to drive?
Or mom and dad's car, yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've been driving since I was 14 years old.
Right.
Down in Louisiana. So if you had a disabled parent, my mom had arthritis, so they had a program where you can take a class, whatever, and take the test. And if one of your parents was working, the other parent wasn't working, then you can get your license early. So I've been driving since I was 14 years old. Taking care of the family, little brothers and stuff like that. Did a whole lot of driving to AAU with my AAU coach, because I was the only one who had license and everybody else didn't. And he had license. So 2 vans, Louisiana to Boston, Louisiana to Cocoa Beach, Florida. I mean, just me by myself with other guys, in the van with us, and just me and him. So I've been driving for a long time. I love driving. My wife had to, get me off and under the wheel all the time, but I've been doing it for a long, long time.
Well, yeah, because you like driving to Pizza Pit, driving back to Ames just for pizza. That's when we was in Chicago. That's easy work to what we're doing now. Like where Junior is in Twin Falls, Idaho. That's a good 8 hours, and we'd get up and one day straight there and stay there and then come back all in one day. So it's easy for me. It's therapeutic. 14? You're driving by yourself at 14?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yep. How about you, Brent?
I think I was 15, but I couldn't remember. I know what my mind was on. It wasn't on driving at that age. But I don't know. I was probably having to get the keys so I can go, drive the car.
Right.
That was it. Pull up to your friend like, "What's up, dog? Yeah, I'm around the corner. Y'all trying to ride?" I probably picked up 4 of my boys and we just rode to Celebration Station or something, or the gas station back then. We go to this racetrack gas station off the interstate, and that was a hangout spot. But yeah, that's about it, man.
Well, I'm like you. I can't really remember when we started driving at 14 as well, because in Iowa, that's just the age. Now I think it's changed, but 14 we could drive, and I feel like this is more like driving my firstborn home from the hospital. Like, stay away from me, left and right, going a little bit slow, a little bit cautious, and making sure I hit every red light. There's no California roll. That's what this is like tonight.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk a little bit of women's basketball. Last week we had Emily Ryan on, and she's such a good person. Really enjoyed talking with her. If you haven't had a chance to go back and listen or watch that, I would encourage everyone who's listening tonight to listen in. Over the week, she set the school record, the all-time school assist record. Now has over 800 in her career. They beat Indiana State 64-42 last Thursday, and then followed up with a win over Southern 84-56. Been really impressed with Sydney Harris. She's a transfer from TCU. Started her career at Central Michigan. She has a little bit of toughness to her that I like and that I admire. You know, Marcus, you talked a little bit about coaching athletes and males with that little bit of oomph to them. She's got that. I really like her game. She's inside, outside, just going after tough rebounds, plays defense. For those of you who may not have been able to watch, Marcus, I don't know if you had a chance to work with her, but Audie Crooks has this Euro fadeaway jumper that she's been rolling out that doesn't really have it down just yet. But I tell you what, if she can start hitting some shots that way, she's really going to be unstoppable.
Oh, yeah, I would love to see that. I mean, the game is evolving. Her game is evolving. You know, her freshman year is under her belt. She had a lot of success, you know, and she's looking to continue to have that success and, you know, be better as the years progress. And I totally understand, you know, coming in that kind of role and understanding, you know, what's really expected of you your freshman year. As a sophomore, you feel a whole lot more comfortable. As a junior, it's just going to be lights out without a doubt. So we're looking forward to it and, you know, having fun and watching these ladies have great success without a doubt.
Women have been generally starting out pretty slow in the first half, keeping it a little bit closer. And then, you know, they're just playing teams that are just not very good, that can't keep up with the talent level that this team has. Coach Fennelly's been playing a lot of rotations. A lot of players, men are too. You know, you're seeing some guys that you probably won't see a lot of as the Big 12 schedule rolls out. But then the women have been finding a good second half rhythm. Play St. Thomas. I had to look this up. They're the St. Thomas Tommies out of Minneapolis, St. Paul on Thursday. I think they play in the Summit League. And then next Wednesday at this time, they play UNI, I believe, up in Cedar Falls next Wednesday. So that's it for the women. Men, they beat the Kansas City Roos. I think, didn't we play them last year too? Does that sound familiar?
Kansas City Roos don't even sound familiar.
The Roos?
Yeah.
Are they the Kangaroos?
I think Roos are short for kangaroos.
I just leave it as kangaroos. Like
they call them they call them the Roos all night. You know, it's kind of fun to listen to them because BJ Shapen, who I haven't heard forever, was calling that game on ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Which, can we talk about how crappy ESPN Plus is? Oh, it's awful. Well, and I think that so we play in a couple over Thanksgiving break. We play in Maui, and I think those are all ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN Plus games as well. So I wish that they would throw that on CBS like we had last year against Kansas. That was quality production.
Is the Maui Invitational? Is it?
Yeah. We play, I think, first night's on a Monday or Tuesday. I'll have to look that up here. I think I may have it written down. Monday against Auburn. And then Tuesday we play North Carolina or Dayton.
Auburn's not too bad.
Yeah, they're good. They're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some news that came out of this last game or last couple games. Conrad Hawley, who we just saw on the commercial there for Dan Douglas Green Beret, hurt his shoulder in last week's game against Mississippi Valley State, and so he was on the sidelines, not available against the Roos on Monday. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out, but sad to see that because he brings a lot of energy to the game, and it's always fun to see Conrad get inserted into the game towards the end of the game.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully, you know, it's not nothing severe. It's just a little banged up.
So these are, I consider these a lot of tune-up games. Marcus, I'm not sure if you've been able to catch any of these games, but any highlights that you've seen in terms of things that you're surprised with, or is it status quo?
This is definitely status quo. I watched, the first couple ones, and like I used to call these slow games. Like it's like you're going, you're going to win it. The game is cold because you're not going as hard as you should be going or could be going. Don't really want to go super, super hard because it's not, You're not trying to do anything to get injured before the season really starts or the conference starts. So it's like one of those games that like you happy to be able to play a game, but it's like, man, we're ready for this game to be over. And it doesn't matter the points wise or how bad you beat the team, or if you up a lot, then the starter's not going to play much anyways. But I guess that's to me why it feels like it's such a cold game, because now you're out the game, got cold sweat on you, you're sitting on the side, you're yawning on the bench, you thinking about what's going to be in that pizza pit box, what we going to do after the game and stuff like that. And it's just one of those games that has to be on the schedule. And not to disrespect any other teams, but it's just like, I'm a guy that loves competition, and competition to be higher to overcome that than to picking on a little brother or something like that. So that's how they feel to me.
Wait, so what's Eustace or Floyd saying to you if he catches one of you guys yawning on the bench?
That's a good question. I mean, if it's in a situation like if it's in a situation like that, and we know we're not getting back in the game, my shirt is untucked and shoes untied.
You're playing the Kansas City Roos and you're yawning on the bench. Is that?
That's probably coming out at halftime. We're not gonna have you out there much longer. So you expecting it, and it goes that way. So you go out there for a couple more possessions. I mean, you go out there and you go on a 12-0 run. They're definitely not keeping us out there, no longer than that. So let the young guys play, come off, go to the bathroom a few different times, just go to the locker room, come back out. It's not, like I said, I don't want to make it seem like it's a boring situation, but it's a boring situation. And, if you're tired, if it's an early game and you want to get out of there, you think about the football game and stuff like that. Like you think about other stuff. So that's how it is. That's how it was for me.
Hey, Brent, similar question. So, I sit fairly close to the sidelines, and I look down, I see some of those players wearing shorts, and I'm freezing my nuts off up in the stands. And I've got so many layers on. I have a heated vest, and those guys are down there. They can't be warm. Like, is there a rule for the players? Like, hey, look, I don't want to see X, Y, and Z. Like, I don't want to see you crying about how cold it is. I don't want to see you wearing a coat. Like, are there sideline rules for the football team when it's cold out or hot out?
Not really. I mean, there's usually heaters on the sidelines too. So 9 times out of 10, if you look at those same guys that are walking around, as soon as that offense or defense leaves, they're right over there with the heater. So I mean, because they know, shit, if it's cold, you'll get cold. I know a lot of these kids will be tough and I'm good, I don't need it. Then you get to see them as their hands get closer and closer. They start moving a little closer and closer to them heaters too.
I do see that.
Yeah, I'll start off hands in the pocket. These go up, and then you see them start moving like this all through everybody, and that means it's over with. It's time to not be cute.
Well, it is interesting to see the rotations. I made reference when I was recapping the women, though, that it's interesting to see some of the different lineups that are being intermingled, and it's not going to look like that. TJ historically has played 7, 8, 9, maybe 9, but primarily 7 or 8. But there's some talent that's out there that between the bigs, and I know that Curtis Jones and Milan has flip-flopped on starting assignments. So I'll be curious to see what that rotation looks like as we turn into January in Big 12 play.
Yeah, I'm sure TJ has in mind like the core group of who he's going to go with, and the whole team knows exactly what it's going to be, and it has to be that way. No egos, no anything like that. You have to have that cohesive group of what we're going to do to have success and win, and that's what you roll out on the floor each and every night. Hopefully, no one gets injured or anything like that. Nobody gets sick. But if you do, then you have the next guys that's going to step up. Just looking forward to, stepping into that role. But the closer it gets to the crust of the season, we know what it's going to look like. And, from what we've seen pretty early on, it's going to be exciting. I'm definitely rooting for my Vegas boys. Love to see my kids out there doing well, have success. Definitely, coaching Josh and being around him for so many years out here in Vegas, him being I'm definitely big bias. So loving to see the success that he's going to have and looking forward to the rest of the year.
Yeah, definitely a big body. All right, so Friday night, there's a wrestling match up in Ames. A friend of mine is coming in. I've made reference from California that he's asked me to go to that. I turned him down. Partially, I need to get over whatever I'm dealing with from a cold perspective, but I also want to watch that Mike Tyson fight on Netflix. Are you all going to be watching that with me?
Oh, I forgot about that. That is Friday, huh?
I'm going to be
I
watching.
kind of want to see it.
I hope Mike Tyson knocks him the hell out. Man, I think if it's a real fight, a real thing, then it's not going. I like the kid. I understand the whole showmanship and all that, but he's an old man. It's still Mike Tyson. We've seen him hit bags and stuff out here in Vegas. That's one person that I've never met. I was telling my wife a little while ago, I would love to meet him. People say we see him all the time around here in Vegas. I've been out here 11 years and I never ran into him, but I would love to. But come on now, that guy still. If it's a real fight,
yeah,
I'd say literally in the first 8 to 10 seconds he can knock that kid head off.
Yeah, I did. I got mixed feelings about it, man, because Mike is muscle memory, right? I get it, but Mike's a little older. You know what I'm saying? He's a little older, so that's the only thing that worries me with him being a little older, because we saw Foreman come back and Holyfield come back. All of them came back, and they were obviously fighting fighters that were primed right now and with belt contention and all of that, but.
Yeah, but Foreman came back when he was like, what, mid-40s? Tyson's 58. He's an AARP member now.
Yeah, that man super retired. So I'm like, watching some of the workouts, like, ooh, yeah, he look good, but shit, he's
he does look good.
He's straight, like, I'm like, ooh, man. So I'm hoping it doesn't go for too long.
What that comedian said, is that Mike Tyson right now? He said, is that old footage or is that right now? It's like, I can't even count those punches. Oh, my God.
I didn't look like Tyson at 58 when I was 38. That guy is in great shape.
Yeah, he is, man. If it's not scripted, I mean, Tyson shit, it's gonna be light work with this boy, but it's also entertainment.
I hope it's not scripted.
Entertainment, so that's why it's so hard for me to get behind this stuff, man. Like, just seeing it. It's
wait, you guys,
it's not entertainment.
You brought up a point. You think that they would script this for real?
Oh, absolutely.
I hadn't even thought about that.
I mean, everything is about money. What you mean?
That's all money. It's all money.
You can't fall. You can't fall for the first 3 rounds. You got to wait till 4 or 5. We got to get the numbers up. I give you this cue. Well, watch. Just watch after the fight. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, right here when he did this. Oh, that's the cue." And then he knocked out 2 seconds later. It's all Bronny James not traveling and being on the Lakers bench at home games. It's all about money. Yeah.
All right, we're marking the video here, 48-30 something and change. You guys make reference that there's going to be something at the end where everybody's looking at going, look at this, look at that. We're calling it right now. I'm looking forward to it. My excuse, and I truly is honest. I'm trying to get over this, but I just want to watch that fight. It's just, I think everyone's going to be talking about it Friday night and Saturday.
Yeah. I'll be watching it. In between the games. This playoff games are going on too, though.
Hopefully Jake is talking about it too and not in the coma.
Got more than one TV though, so we're gonna make it happen. That's for sure.
Because if it turns out to be like Nate Robinson, I knew. I said, what is Nate doing? And pop. Oh, he's out.
Hold it like a lawn chair. Put his ass on the shelf. That was it. Yeah, I can't see. I don't see that happening because I think, personal opinion, I don't think nobody gets knocked out. I think it goes the distance, and it's one of those decision type of things.
Okay.
My personal opinion, I don't know. I think because they want the viewers up, and everybody's going to be hanging on to their seat for a knockout. But I don't think Jake is going to knock him out. I think it's going to be one of those. He might, catch him, but I don't think it'll be a knockout on either side.
No, I think it's one of those, like you said, it can't be going 100% all out, because if Jake, it's Mike Tyson. If he hit him hard and he snapped back into Iron Mike, come on now. Body shot up top, it's over. It's over.
In those videos, Mike was like, woo, wee. The trainer was like, the trainer's like, whoa, champ, all right. Yep, we got it. We still got it.
Right.
Well, we talked about John Heacock having something to prove to young Tyson Veit. I think Mike Tyson's got something to prove. We live in this world, this aura of Mike Tyson that he had all those first round knockouts within 30 seconds, 50 seconds. I could see him coming out aggressively and just trying to put him down within the first couple of rounds. We'll see.
I mean, I hope he does get lost in old Mike and just whoops this kid ass. That's what I really hope. Like, I hope he just like, because you can tell in some of these interviews, he's like, all right, I done had enough of these games and shit. Like, okay, we're doing a lot of talking. He said, all right, this young boy talks a lot. All right, he gonna put belt to ass in a minute, so better watch out.
Now, this isn't a Rocky Balboa Thunder Lips. This is for real. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
I'd like to see that contract.
Yeah.
I bet it's probably about that thick.
Oh, yeah. No, it is.
All right. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Messiah Storm. Cyclones play against Cincinnati on Fox, 7 p.m. Saturday night. I think a couple of us will be up there tailgating and walking around the stadium. Hope to see everyone then. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, although we may have to play around with the schedule a little bit, but we'll talk more offline. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and that's another edition of In the Side of the Storm.
Peace.